everybody. Thanks for joining me on this Friday's Kitchen Basic, and it's going to be a quick one about asparagus. You know, the farmers markets are getting filled with wonderful vegetables, and I know asparagus, you can still find them even though we're in summer. And they're really easy to prepare. I'm going to show you two simple ways. But before we even get to that point, when you go to the market and you bring the asparagus home, a little trick I like to do, if you're not going to use them immediately, is not storing them in a bag, but actually getting a glass of cold water and storing them almost like you would flowers. It keeps the asparagus moist because you're kind of watering the stalk from the bottom, and you can cover the top with loosely with some plastic wrap, but this keeps things fresher and the air can circulate around the top so they don't get mushy. So this is a better way to store asparagus in the fridge. Now, I've rinsed my asparagus and I am going to be preparing it for a recipe. So if you've ever had asparagus that hasn't been trimmed properly, you know that these bottom pieces are really tough and stringy and not really fun to eat. And the asparagus starts with white, it goes to like a light purple, to a dark green, to a light green. Really, this top area, the light green, is the tender, yummy part. This bottom part you don't want. So you can go by eye and have a knife and trim the bottom, pretty much where the color starts to change, like so. And there you go. That's the asparagus you're going to want to, steam or use in your recipe. This gets tossed. But sometimes it's really hard to tell where to cut. And I know I've sometimes overshot it and then you're using up good asparagus, or I didn't cut enough and then I've got like a tough end that I'm serving a guest, so that's not fun either. Another very simple trick is to let the asparagus tell you where to trim it, meaning it's going to naturally break at the tender part to the tough part. So basically putting your fingers near where the color changes and snapping, and it's going to snap naturally where it's tender and where it starts to get tough. And you'll see here it's about the same, but I trust the asparagus more than my eyeball because each one's going to be different. This one was tender further down, and I probably would not. I would have cut it probably a little further up so I get more asparagus. So that's really the quickest and easiest way to trim up your asparagus, is to just break them. Now, you might have an issue here where you're going to say, Flora, you know what? That's great, but now I'm going to have all these uneven asparagus, right? Well, if you've got a loose recipe where you're just steaming things or using a béarnaise, it doesn't matter. If you're doing something more designed, if you will, like in a tart, then yes, once you trim everything up, you might want to trim everything up, meaning taking the ends off, then you might want to then line everything up and get an even end. I just think sometimes having things a little uneven is more of a rustic approach anyway. So that's the 101 on asparagus, guys. It's really not that hard, it's not that complicated, and they're delicious. So enjoy the farmers markets, enjoy asparagus, and thank you for joining me today on this Kitchen Basic. And please subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out, helps support all the goings on here, and I update the channel every Friday. So thanks for joining me. Have a great weekend and get cooking.